We continue learning Kitzur Yomi, and we finish up the Siman on Hilchos Tefillin. We are up to Perik Yod Tefillin Yod Sif Chaf. Says the Kitzur Choltzin Mu'umad. You take off your tefillin while standing. Master Etzakrichos Min Etzva. You first take off the straps around your finger. Shtayim Ashal Shkichos Min Azrai on 2 or 3 straps from around the arm. Then V'Choletz Chil Shal Reish. That's what you take off first. Says the Kitzur. After you take off your hand, then you take off from your head. Then you take off your shalyad. Mishum dechsev ayil tatvos b'neinecha v'hayu lashon rabim. Whenever you're wearing your shalroish, you're wearing your shalyad. Therefore, lachein maniach tchila shalyad first, put on your shalyad v'chot tchila shalroish, and your shalroish is removed first. Because therefore, shkolzman she shall love shalroish, as long as you're wearing the shalroish, she love gam shalyad. Small. So number one, you take off your shalroish first. Number two, you take it off with your left hand. Shehi yad kiyah, which is your weaker hand. Obviously, a lefty does the reverse. Why? Says the Kittik the Haris to Shakashal Chalitzas, and it's difficult. You don't really want to remove your tefillin, so you do it with your weaker hand. Meisha mitzvah, because it's a mitzvah. She loved tefillin kol yom. Really, we should wear tefillin all day. Meisha in lukov naki chaltz and miyad achat tefillah. We take it off right after davening. As we mentioned yesterday, we should not take off a tefillin in front of the Sefer Torah, rabbi, and you don't take off your tefillin in front of your Rebbe either, Rabbi Shalom de Rav Torah, because it is not b'kavodik. Similarly, what is the reason? Excuse me, because when you take off your tefillin shel rosh is a moment you're not wearing your yarmulke, and you do not want to be in such a scenario in front of a Sefer Torah or one's Rebbe. And what should you do? You go away to go to the sides. You're not in front of the Torah or the Rebbe, and then you can take off your tefillin shel rosh. Minug chachamim linashik is the tefillin b'shas and chasam b'shas chalitzas, and you kiss your tefillin when you put on and take it off. Ein lashes towels. You don't remove your towels. Ad lacher chalitzas tefillin. Sif chav aleph yanichas tefillin b'toch kiss shalahen. Tefillin should be in their own bags. Of course, in a way that tomorrow you're first going to take out the shalyad. Why? Because if you end up taking out the shalyad, you can't put it on. You got to put it down and put it on the shalyad. So you set it up in your bag in a mannerism that you take out the shalyad first. Shalyad should not be on top of the shalyad. So we have a catch-22. The shalyad is more kedusha, so you don't want the shalyad to be on top of it. Rather, you put them one next to the other, and they quote the Mishnah Berurah that the shalyad should be slightly higher, closer to the opening, so you're going to touch it first. You put the bag with the tefillin towards the back, behind your talis, very important. Why? This is something, unfortunately, you see people make a mistake all the time, that in their talis bag, they have their talis in the back and the tefillin in the front. Then they take out their tefillin and they take out their talis. That is completely incorrect, as we learned, because that would be ma'virin al mitzvahs. You want your talis to be touched first, and only afterwards your tefillin. Says the Kitzur Simchaf Beis Misha in Loy Tefillin Vasibur Mispalim, a very important halacha. Mutav, it is better sheyisakel la'achar tefillah sibur. Do not daven with the minyan lishaloi tefillin le'achar. So you could borrow tefillin to yisha kriyishma v'yispal shvon esrei b'tefillin nation mispalim matzibur mimash yispal tzibur matfillin. Very important, and people mess this up all the time. You don't have tefillin, so don't go daven with the minyan and then put on your tefillin afterwards. No, wait and put on your tefillin and daven Shemona Esrei and Shema with the tefillin. If you're afraid that if you do that, you might lose the Siman, then of course, Kari Krisha below tefillin. You're afraid Shem Yaver Siman Tefillah, again, Mispal Gamkein, you should do that as well. When later you find tefillin, you put it on with the brachas. You say some tilim, or daven mincha. I ain't going to say Yudalad. However, Laila loves man tefillinu, but also in Yechba we do not put on tefillin at night. It's a din d'Rabbanan, as it points out on the bottom over here, because you're afraid you fall asleep. You let to borrow your friend's tefillin, gam shel b'diyas, without telling him. To put them on, make a bracha, as we've seen, because one wants you to do a mitzvah with their item. You need to have a clean body. You don't want to pass gas in them. If you have a stomach issue, if you're without any pain, Potter min tefillin. Why? You're not able to guard yourself while wearing the tefillin. If it appears if you can put them on for a few minutes, of course you do that. Any other illness, if you're in pain, and you don't have a clear mind due to your pain, your tefillin, you have to always think about your tefillin. Then of course you are chayiv. Of course, the general consensus is that we put on tefillin in all scenarios. Of course, if you're passing gas, not. But even when one is in pain, we try to be miyashev our das. Tefillin, a katan knows that a guarded tefillin, you're not going to pass gas, you're not going to fall asleep in them. Tefillin, the father buys tefillin, put them on. However, says the Kitzur a minig. What is the minog? When 2 or 3 months before his bar mitzvah. And we continue with Sivcha. Says the Kitzur bin tefillin b'chol ha'moed, as we mentioned the previous year. Yesh v'achleik zeh ba'isiv v'chilukim min hagim different min hagim. Yesh mikayim yishachzu kedasa ba'iskim tefillin not to put on tefillin. V'yesh mikayim shenagim kedasa ba'iskim nichon elo. You don't make a bracha v'shayim v'sashana. V'yesh nagim lenichem b'loy brachas. So many different minhagim. You should have in mind here, to stop putting on straps. And even though she's not making a bracha on the tefillin, when she has you have to be careful. And of course, many shuls have that those who wear tefillin daven either in a different section, a different floor, than those who do not wear tefillin. Tefillin that were kosher min adin calls man shabai yishalim if it looks clean and complete. You don't need. It's a very important clout. A chazaka continues as long as you're using it, so you never need to check your tefillin. Says the Kitzur, no chayin, it's appropriate. The sweat could ruin them. We just in yeshiva had someone come down, so looked at many people's tefillin, and it was very, very clear that many boys, due to showering with their tefillin, it caused the tefillin to chip, and therefore it certainly is something, even though minadin we just said you don't have to check them, but one should be careful. Continues the Kitzur, which could be if someone has a spare pair of tefillin, for example, twice in 7 years, because one should be careful that one might happen, they might have gotten ruined because you don't have the chazaka, that because you're not worn all the time. And we conclude, says the Kitzur of Achain, and similarly, Im nikra abayis, if the bayis Torah, you have to check everything. In nishu b'mayim, if they're in water, you have to check them. Similarly, we'll say if you leave them out in the sun or anything that might be damp, you have to be careful. If no one can check them, and they're not able to resew them, then you wear them. Don't make a bracha on them. I will just parenthetically mention that one should talk to the sefer that he bought his tefillin from. Some seferim tell you to check it less, to check it more, based on the ink, based on that which they know. But if you wear it every day, minadin, you don't need to check. But of course, there's always the maila. You might have sweat and whatnot. But if not, then certainly one has to check them. And we'll pick it up from Hilchais Mezuzah on the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.